So let's say she was getting regular polish. There's a whole entire swatch ring with all the regular polishes we have. This is a good opportunity to insert that. Let them pick their color and say, okay, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna wash my hands before you start the service. Okay, boom, done. Okay, so you're gonna have them busy picking out their color so that way you can get the color when you come back after you wash your hands. Okay, so I'm gonna go wash my hands. This basket right here, you're good.
Did you do soap notes when she was seated, or when?
No, you would do that before you even touch her.
Okay.
So you don't even go receive your client until you have done soap notes. You should have read soap notes prior to even coming to get her. Okay. So I'm gonna wash my hands. Go grab hers real quick too. Oh, there is one thing I do want to do, but I'm gonna do that when I come back. Okay.
When do you examine her feet to see if they're okay to work on?
You said what?
Before they go in the water.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, we're gonna go into all of that once I come back, because technically, usually you would have fully consulted. You guys could have consulted with her prior to even having her come out to the floor. But of course, we're in a classroom setting, so that's not ideal in here. But those are just choices of when you insert your consultation. You can also kind of do your consultation throughout the service, because we do have to put their feet to soak in water for 5 minutes. That also is a point in time where you actually can start consulting about what the expectation is, and also be able to go in and do your recommendations, because by that point, you would have also seen the health of their feet and be able to assess what is actually going on. Because you would have been able to remove the polish, all that stuff. Because sometimes they'll break their nails under their polish too and don't know that they're broken. So when you actually get that polish off, you can actually see, like, oh, okay, you need 2 repairs. Then you can actually go into a true consultation, if that makes sense. So this is going to be very surface level prior to even getting their feet out of the shoes, if that makes sense. Okay? So, I'm going to get these real quick.
Did you do my soap notes when you did my feet all the time? I just thought about it. Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ. Loves you.
Very much.
Yeah, bro.
So the only thing,
Nobody.
okay, on here, and this is for the end. Your self notes you technically don't do. Once you get their chart, she doesn't have anything specifically on here, but I just want to show you this. Once you get her chart, your date is the date of the service, because you guys didn't do basic yet. So date, service, okay, is here. This would be what?
Basic pedicure.
Basic pedicure, time you started, and student is who?
Whoever did it.
Who provided service for that would be me. Okay, so here, informed health check. So this is when they did it, if it's a one on file or a new one was completed, because that means they made an update or they're a totally new client. These little triangles. Okay, there are different versions of this form. You may see this one or the other one. Okay, then once you finish, you circle the body. This is the front of the body, this is the back of the body. So for basic pedicure, it is ankle down only. You are not doing a massage on the legs, it's just the ankles. Okay, ankles and foot. All right, but this typically is in your drawer in a folder, and it would be, you would just drop it in your drawer, okay, until you finish, fill out your notes at the end. Okay, so once I finish, I'm throw this away. This brush goes straight into to be clean. You're done with it, sanitize, and then what would I have done right now when I came back to the client? If I
Check
gave
for
her the wash
six.
sticks, then what
Oh,
should I
we
be
can go
doing?
get the polish.
Get her polish, okay? So once I finish that, I already chose for her. But once you finish that, you're ready to come back, return to your service. So your gauge of time for this particular service is 45 minutes, okay? Your test out is also 45 minutes. I'm gonna sit these right here for just a second. Chair, I'm a little too low. You wanna be about 90 degrees. Your waist should not be lower than your knees. That is gonna cut off your circulation, okay? You gotta make sure you're comfortable and low enough. Sometimes you have to drop down just to see, to not kill your neck. But you want to make sure that ergonomically you're able to be parallel. If you start feeling numbness, tingling, of course you were too low. Okay, but it's honestly better to be a little bit lower, because these chairs are not elevated. You're not on highs to be closer to your face. Okay,
So you should be parallel to the foot pedals.
you should be parallel with your body to your hips.
Okay.
Okay, now just to not kill your back. But these are not obviously the biggest and the design, okay, for the way for ergonomics for us. This is not the most ergonomic position. Okay, lap towel. This towel technically is for what?
The
Her. So
Yeah.
let's say she had a skirt on, a dress on, then we would just be like this. Now, sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you need a big towel. There are big towels underneath the cabinet too, like how we have ones for the bar. If you need to get them one, you can get them one. If we have to get them a blanket for whatever reason, they're freezing this and the third. Some of our older clients are going to be that way. And you're also okay to get a blanket. You just have to make sure it goes to the appropriate place to launder. Okay? You're responsible for making sure that's done. So, once we finish, it's just the ankle down. I'm only going to roll up just a little bit. This is good. Because you're not going to have a lot of water. Okay? You can have them do this too. It's completely up to you. Alright. So, once you have them seated, yes.
You put the towel that was on their feet on their lap?
Yes, normally this wouldn't be for that. I just put it up there so you guys can see.
Okay.
Usually you use your lap towel.
Okay.
So usually this towel would be the extra towel. The towel that I had folded up here would be her lap towel. I just put it up there so you guys can see. Because I really don't need it. Okay? So once you finish, I mean, it's there. I wouldn't hope they would not be terrified of their own feet. But if they are, then you don't have to use that one. Okay? So let's say we didn't want this one anymore. It just goes into your basket. So the big towel is your dirty side, just like for spa. You just leave this here just in case, because dirty towels can't be on the floor. Okay? Technically, normally I would have put my mask on first. I'm just not gonna do that because I gotta talk to you guys, and it's gonna go like this. Okay? So, but your mask should already be on. Always your PPEs. If you're really finicky about feet, definitely have goggles too. When you guys get ready to go into e-file, because the e-file dust is real. Okay? It's gonna be everywhere. You need to make sure your mask is on. Make sure it's tucked. Okay, because if you do e-file removal, it's going to be everywhere. You have face shield, I would still have your mask on, still goggles too. You can get goggles that go over your glasses. Because it can go into the side.
Goggles
okay?
and a face shield.
So,
Yeah, and the mask.
this I'm going to put in there. Alright, so once you finish, it is time to clean our client's feet. So another question, big thing that you want to see with these, you want to make sure that they have not shaved in how much time or wax?
24 hours.
24 to 48 hours, okay? At least the last 24 minimum, okay? That is because it's going to create either micro cuts, okay, and or openings. So,
It was the weekend, but I was looking like,
no,
oh,
you
their hair.
no, it's better to be hairy than not to be, okay? Because there can be contaminants in the water that they can pick up, okay? So you rather them not have any openings. If you're doing electronic booking, when you're doing that booking service, it should definitely be a pop-up. Hey, have you shaved or waxed in XYZ? Then they need to decline the service, and that's something that you need to decline. Or you could just put it as a question, and then if you see that it's marked as somebody, okay, I need to call them about their appointment, okay?
Well, Saturday was the time I shaved my face.
Still, she's good, okay? So once you finish, you're ready to actually sanitize your client's feet. This is before you even touch them, you sanitize them, okay? So you're gonna spray the tops of the feet.
At this point, are they already cleared for service, or are you still looking for
No.
infections?
So right
take
now,
the
we
2
haven't
weeks
even
service.
checked for SIBs yet.
Okay.
Okay, this is just sanitizing before you even touch. Just
Okay.
like manicure, you know how you have them sanitize, you spray their hands and they rub their hands? This is that same step, okay?
Okay.
So we're just sanitizing her. As I'm sanitizing her, I'm also going to be for my soap notes, I'm assessing. I'm gonna spray the bottom of her foot as well. So we're pretty much putting alcohol everywhere on the foot, tops, between, and the bottom. This is strong, so sorry y'all. Try not to take y'all out here. All right, once you finish, you kind of want this to dry. Of course, obviously, if they had any sensitivity, any openings, this would burn like crazy, okay? So once you get that done, kind of let it dehydrate, and then you're gonna go into SIBs first, which is just assessing the skin, okay? So once you assess the skin, you're doing the tops of each toe. In between. I know, you're pretty good now though, okay? And then once I do that, I'm gonna check the bottom of the foot. You wanna inspect all 3. So top, around each toe, of course between the toes. As you're spraying for alcohol, I usually assess between the toes because you're gonna know, okay, automatically. Once you finish that, you're gonna do the bottom of the foot. Are you ticklish? Okay. So once you finish that, you're checking. So remember, I said warts. Where can warts be?
On the bottom and on
Here?
the sides.
Okay, here, between the toes as well, or the bottom of the toe. It's really common for it to be here and here. Okay, so just make sure, and also between. So you want to make sure that you're assessing all of those places. Once they're cleared on each one, and you've checked underneath, you're good to do the bottom as well. Okay, I think that's just debris. I just want to make sure.
Damn near empty.
Okay,
You don't actually have to put
Alright.
this on.
so once you finish,
No, you have to put that one on.
once you finish, you're ready to go. Okay, so at this point, I need to remove what?
The big toes.
Polish, okay. Now on your paper, it's gonna tell you to remove from the big toe first. This is a little bit of a blend with MNT, meaning we're checking for fungal infection.
It's
The
just
reason
a-
why,
Two big toes.
Big
first,
toe
on number
first.
5.
Yep. So big toes first. That is because
Oh.
fungal infection mostly is prominent on the big toes, if any toes at all. Okay. Super common. So you want to make sure that you're assessing this, because if they have it on these, you can't provide service anyway. That's a no. Okay. So you're looking what characterizes fungal infection.
Greater yellowish discoloration.
Discoloration. It's yellow tinted. What else?
Sort of like patchy texture, just sort of.
Sometimes can be patchy textured. It's gonna be streaks. Sometimes it's streaks at the free edge of the nail going up the nails. What is another one? It's another super common one.
Swelling.
Crumbling. Okay, so you're cleaning their hyponychium and everything starts coming out. Crumbling free edge. That typically means that the fungal infection is eating underneath. Okay, so it also can cause detaching of the nail bed. Okay, because it works its way from the free edge to the matrix. So eventually it can spread all the way up the toe. Okay, you just may be on the forefront. If you don't know or anything is questionable and you're like, oh, no, it doesn't look that bad, because sometimes it is just debris. If there's an opening or detaching, stuff can breed underneath because it can get trapped. Okay, so you have to be mindful of all those things as well. You're gonna have to dispense from the dispensary. So there's containers, but you're gonna have to dispense some into the container.
in the containers in the dispensary?
No, you need the empty ones to dispense from the one in the dispensaries.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you can take those if you need to.
Oh, no, it's on that there.
It's some empties. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So once you finish, those are good. Okay. So once we do this, we start big toe. So let's say she had regular polish off on her toenails. Okay.
10 seconds. So
Yep, you're gonna hold for 10 seconds. So if she had a regular polish on, we're gonna remove to check for fungal infection. You would hold, okay, clear everything to make sure it's actually safe to put her in the water, okay. Once you get all that off, you do this one. And once these big toes are cleared, okay, you're ready to go to what?
the out.
pinky toe.
Go out to in, okay. So you're still gonna start to your right, which is pliant left. You go pinky inward. Once you clear all of those, we're good to go to the next one. Rotate and transition all the way down. Okay, once we remove, I did the big toe again, but once we remove, is have it. Once we remove everything, we're ready to go. She's good, she's clear. Okay, I'm just gonna not be wasteful. So once we remove all her polish, what is it time for?
Get
Use
warm water.
yourself politely.
Yeah, we're gonna get warm water. So we need to know what temperature water she likes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put the pedicure liner on the bowl. Now on the clinic floor, you will already have your bag on the bowl. You just won't close it all the way. So that way you can run the water still. So you'll have it kind of around your bowl like this. You'll have the water on. So that way when you test the water with your wrist, you're not contaminating the water that's gonna go on her skin. Does that make sense?
The water goes
So-
under the
Why would
plastic?
you test the water before you bring
You
the
will
over?
in
Oh.
here. But on the clinic floor, y'all have the bowl attached. It's not like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
So this is different styles, 2 different styles, okay? But with the basin, you test before you put it in.
So with the
It'll
water
make
thing,
sense when you get
you know how with the thing they have like the water coming from this
the
way.
spout. There's a
and
spout
they
on the
don't
clinic
have
floor.
the thing covering it all the way. She's saying check the water before you pull it, the cover all the way over.
Sure. So you're not testing in their water with your skin.
So you're not. You know.
Okay, I get
No
what
cross contamination. Okay, so pedicure tablet goes in first. We're gonna get water. How do you want your water?
Hot.
Hot. Okay, we'll get it as hot as we can.
Okay.
Hot.
Oh,
Sure,
I
that's it,
see
we're
it.
And you put the petty soak in there?
Yep, petty soak is already in there. And it'll dissolve on its own. It's
Go ahead,
okay?
go.
Yep, you can put both as long as the temperature is okay. Always start a little bit hotter. You can always add more cold to it if you need to. Because this, with bowls, these are pedicure basins. These are called basins. So there's different styles. You can do ceramic, you can do glass, you can do stainless steel. Stainless steel tends to be the favorite because it's the most durable. Okay, 1. 2, it also retains heat longer. So it's gonna make sure that your water is hot longer. In a suite setup, you also can do like an electric kettle. That's what I did when I first started. I just started with cold water, just did the cold water, and then I added hot to their temperature, like it's easy. You don't want to burn them, but you'll add a little bit. Okay, take your feet out real quick. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Okay, try it again. Okay, it's easier to do that to make sure it's hot enough and not have to run back and forth. Okay, so those are all choices, all options if you're gonna go the water route. They're also, like I said, dry too. So at this point, this is when you're doing those service recommendations. Let's say I sell products and I see that I have a product that would be good to work into her at-home care. Okay, this can also be an opportunity for me to let her try it. Maybe I have testers for her to try it, to add it on. And usually that's the way you kind of get your foot in the door, because once they experience it, that creates desire for it. Okay, so once you do that, but this is upsell, it's a business. For you, you want your clients to see transformation. I will say of all the services, besides maybe doing nails on somebody who's a nail biter or has very problematic hands, this is the most transformative. Okay, meaning you see day and night difference from the time they come in to the time they leave, which with them that leaves a more lasting impression with them, which also creates more demand for the service. If you always have them leaving better than they came, they feel more better. They feel better because people don't take care of their feet, y'all. They do not take care of our feet, and our feet get us everywhere. We walk in them all day long. We put them in shoes. We beat them up. Okay. People sometimes may have issues from longer term issues, meaning they wore shoes that were too tight for long periods of time that have created foot issues for them. Okay. So you're going to see that, especially if you go into MNT world, you're going to see a lot of that. That transitions and happens with the feet, which is why these are great services and they're great relaxing services. That is usually what you will see. Most people go to sleep. Sometimes they'll talk to you, but majority of the time they're very chill, they're very mellow by the time they get to this point. Okay, and that's what it should be.
Especially with the hookah and the shampoo.
Oh my goodness, they're gonna be too relaxed, and we not know too
There's
much.
a few.
There's a few salons
They
that are
do.
doing
They do the thing, but
You can sit and you smoke a hookah while you're getting your nails done.
Yeah.
What
all
is
right.
so
I'm
stupid?
gonna go ahead and take your
I ain't
feet
gonna
out.
lie, this sounds really relaxing, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Hookah is already unsanitary.
That is super unsanitary in the nail world, with all the dust and everything
That's
else
what I'm
going on in
saying.
there, and having open
I didn't think
beverages.
But if you're not
We're really
cleaning
not
the
supposed to
hookah,
have food and drinks, but it's definitely in there.
right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's it's
Savannah,
gross.
you're right.
How did they begin away with
Okay.
that then?
So
What are
I mean,
some
it's a
common,
thing.
like, testers that you use to upsell for pedicure?
So if you were gonna do testers, it would be scrubs, it would be oils, because you're gonna have different products that are gonna be beneficial for different problematic issues. Okay, so typically we just use one line because it's easy in school. Okay, y'all just have all the same scrub mask and then all the same pedicure, manicure, so it's the same. Because then you guys have to keep up with all these different products. What is this product beneficial for? Why am I using this product? So there are going to be other things where, especially if you go holistic route, whether it's citrus upgrades or anti-aging, because when we go into skin, we're talking about skin treatments. That opens up a whole world of things. Okay, so it really just depends on what they particularly need. Like for her, I would be adding on, like if I sold pedicure files, that would be a great add-on for her inclusively, or pumice stone for her to use at home to maintain it until she comes back to me, especially if we're pushing it out a month. It's the summertime. People are going to be on the beach. They're going to be walking around. They're going to be doing all those other things that are going to create more problems on their feet. So for the aesthetic of it, how they want them to look, especially if they're like, oh, well, my feet used to be soft, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, then your end goal as the nail technician is to get them as close as you can back to that. Okay, but that takes two people. Okay, you can maintenance it when they're coming in here, but if they want to maintain it, that is expectations that you have to set as part of the conversation. Okay, for maintenance, meaning how often I need to see you, and also what they need to do at home to keep it at that state, if that makes sense. Okay,
So if you were
So
to
it's
give a
both.
referral, how often do you think I need to be scrubbing the side of my foot?
so if you use pumice stone, I would say once a week, and get a pedicure file. But get a pedicure file to smooth it out, and if you do exfoliation like scrubs or anything, I would add that into your routine at least once a week too. You can exfoliate your feet every day though.
That's what I was about to say.
You can, if you do it every day, yeah, exfoliate your skin too.
I do
just
use
like
a
the
little
rest of your
scrubber,
body.
but I'm really bad about going too far, so I try to.
So
dial it
if you use a pumice, what do you mean scrubber?
the pumice,
The
thing for
the
your
pumice.
foot. Yeah.
Okay, so if you do it, you only want to do it on the area that you actually need it. So you need to do here. If you're doing a coarse degree, I would do coarse and finish off with a fine, and then smooth it out with a file. You don't have a lot though. That's why I said really for callus treatment and a pumice stone, that'd be enough. So you wouldn't need to use a pumice stone really, but once a week.
Got you.
Okay, realistically outside of
But
this.
smooth it out.
Just to smooth out with pedicure file. Keep it soft. Okay, so all those things are important. Once we get to this point, it is time to do what? What do we do first?
File. Clip.
Clip. Okay, you clip all 10. So once you get them soft, these typically are going to be straight edge. When we talk about shapes, typically for women, it's going to be square. But that is not my choice, okay? That is consultation. So at this point, when she was in the water, I could have also been asking her not only for upselling for products, but I also could be and offering her different products. I also could have been consulting about what shape. Are we cutting down today? Like if they're not going to talk to you or you really don't have any issues, because sometimes you're going to have clients that are going to be healthy. You don't have nothing to talk about. So are you going to cut down today? What shape are you thinking today? Is it going to be square, squabble, round,
Like
whatever
on
it's
mine,
going to
you
be?
can already see.
Okay, so she typically gets square. Okay, so that is gonna be the default. So I can be like, okay, are you cutting down and are we still gonna do square? Boom, done. Okay, I can assess on my own, but I can also be inquisitive and ask questions. Okay, so once I get to this point, it's a question. Do you want them to cut down to?
If you feel like they're
I'm not
okay
gonna
to
cut them right
now. Nah, I knew it.
You got polish on. But
You want
if she didn't have polish on because you want to see safety wise, you want to see where their hyponychium extends to, because we can't cut past. Right now, it would not be safe for me to cut it because I can't see that. Okay, so visually this would be a no, but I'm gonna pretend. So if we're gonna cut, when you cut, you're gonna come from one corner. You wanna make sure that you're holding the skin out of the way. So I would cut from here. You're gonna go from one corner underneath. You would cut. Okay, guard it, and then go back to your other side, cut, guard it, and then trim to the middle. That's one, so it doesn't fly away, but also so that it doesn't split weird, okay? You want to be able to be in control. Straight edge is good for women because typically we're going to do square. There are curved ones, but that creates more issues if they want to go straight.
What shape do men usually do?
Men usually go round, okay? Meaning they fall around the smile line. Most men don't want a free edge, but that is not going to be every man. Majority is going to be that. But if they ask you to use your professional opinion, you're going to do that. On feet, I will say that you're going to see, you see how she has a very hard C curve on her big toe? You can also tell that she has a little bit of callus on the sides of her toes from the pressure of her nail digging into her skin. That's from spending time on the feet, okay? That's normal. A lot of people will have that if they have a hard C curve on their toes. So you have to be mindful. You don't want to cut into her sidewalls, okay? That creates more problematic issues for her. It also can create an ingrown. So you would be trimming your free edge down to a safe point, and that's it, okay? So once we transition to this point, we're ready to cut down. We cut down all of these, okay? Once we cut down all 10, what is our next step for her?
File all 10.
File all 10. So you cut all 10 right after water. Yeah.
With these, you could probably go like a little bit farther down if you were to put.
Yeah, you can cut shorter than this. You can cut like half of this, yeah.
Okay.
If you want to, we could do removal after this, once we finish her demo. Okay, so that way you'll be ready. Because she has, like, if you want to check too, like, let's say you were nervous about it, you can take your wood stick and just gently clean underneath. So you see how I can see how far, I'm just sticking underneath just so you can see. She doesn't have much extension in the middle to her hyponychium. This is it. That's not much free edge, okay? That's not a lot. There's some, but it's not a lot. We have to leave that overhang in the middle for that. So realistically, I could cut like half of that off and then file it shorter. So when you cut, always leave room for shaping. If you don't, when you're shaping, you're gonna be right up against her skin. And you can cut her because she's gonna be soft, okay, from the water. So anytime you're not sure, same thing here. You see how her nails, she has a longer nail bed. You would think because of how long her nails are that you would be able to cut more, right? Visually, just from looking at the tops. But she has a long nail bed. What is attached? She goes longer. Look at how much this is it on her big toe. That's it. She just has a longer nail bed. So if I was to be like, oh yeah, we can go ahead and cut and just chop them off, I'm gonna leave her bleeding with trying to cut it with polish on. Okay, so that is safety. Okay, you have to check. So once you finish cutting, we would file. Okay, so the file and buffer have not been etched. We're gonna make sure that we go ahead and take those sharp edges off the file and the buffer.
So with the first wood stick, what were you doing?
I just was cleaning underneath just so you guys can see how long her hyponychium is extended. Her nail bed and her hyponychium. But typically the first wood stick is for treating and cleaning the first foot. Okay. So I just left it out because it's contaminated. You can't put it back underneath. Okay? So once I finish, we file. So it'd be side, free edge. I am going to file some of your edges that are digging. Okay, always make sure you guard. If you notice, I typically tend to do a 3-finger method, meaning I go here, I'll hold the skin down in the front, okay, and hold here as well. So I'm pulling her skin back as I'm rotating here to ensure you broke one of your corners. We'll file it down though.
It's always my pinky toe.
Okay, so be mindful. You want to make sure that the file is hitting your gloved finger, not their skin. That is not going to feel good, especially when it's soft out of the water, okay? So usually you would hold like this, right? So instead you're holding like this. Usually I would do one underneath. This is just a smaller toe, okay? So it'd be 2, hold, pull back her skin each time you change directions. So my view, okay, is not the most important view. What's most important for shaping? Client view, okay? So I'm just gonna file. Did you file your corners off before? They look like they were trimmed off or filed off or something.
You good? Then I tried to round them a little bit.
Okay.
But A lot of times with my pinky toes, because I do them so square, they'll end up breaking if I have them on for too long. Like
Yeah.
without taking the gel off and redoing them.
Yeah, you're gonna be prone to that, especially for that reason. So I'm just gonna blend these out. She probably did squabble. That's what it looks like. It's more
That's what I was like, I think she tried to round them out a little bit.
So once you finish, you're gonna start pinky in on which foot when you're filing.
Wait, you said it.
Left.
Oh,
Client left, which is always default to your right.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna blend these out a little bit.
yeah, because I tried to go square, and I think you said to round them a little bit because of my hyponychium.
Yes, the way that it was shaped. To this side, I'm just gonna blend it because right now you have like sharp pointers. All right. So once you finish filing, we break and dispose of this, and then what do we go into? This is where it's close to basic treat.
The cuticle.
Treat and clean.
So solvent.
And it's not a bad thing. That's why I said you will always want to check and test because visually, what you see may not be what it is. Always, yeah, your corner's gone on that one. So, yes, ma'am.
If my thingy is only like 45 minutes is the lowest, I mean
45 seconds. Then that's 45 seconds. You can put it in for, I would say, like 15 seconds. That just means your lamp's not as strong when you're doing a flash cure.
Oh, great.
It's okay. Language, y'all.
I got
Okay.
the bare minimum one, I guess.
Okay. I'm gonna see. Does this look straight to you? I think this corner's higher to me. That does it look straight to you?
Miss Savannah, does this mean there's
Straight
stuff on my hand that I
Not
just
straight
can't
enough.
see?
You said what?
Does this mean there's stuff on my hand that I can't see? Look at my hand in the UV light.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
First, the areas where she needs a little more, I'm gonna put down her side walls. Especially if you see that it's problematic or you see that they have callus, go ahead and put solvent all the way down the side walls. You get a little bit more.
So like, what are you seeing on which need it down the sidewalls? 'Cause they
So
all look
she
kind of
has
the same.
callus. You see this little clear skin right here?
Oh.
That is callus from the pressure, especially because she has a C curve. So I'm just treating it down. Remember how I was clearing out her sidewalls? She has a little bit of buildup down there.
Okay.
So I want it, because it's already dead, I want it to break it down as well.
Oh.
So then I can come back and actually do her pushback.
It's like extra cold.
I'm
Okay,
so
it's not
sorry.
just me.
No.
No, it's cold.
I thought it was up under the ear.
Do we
or
have both
something.
doors closed?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, no, usually when both doors are open, it must be cooler out, well, hotter outside.
That's all
Yeah.
I was gonna say is regulating.
So I'm gonna push up. You're gonna go all the way up and across those sides, break it up, come back in your circles. Push up. Okay, same thing here.
So you push the nail fold back a little bit, but
You're pushing where that solvent is.
Kind of digging into it.
And then gently clean underneath. The Curate is gonna give you the best clean. Now the pointed ones are even better than this. So I'm gonna break this, throw this away. You can go ahead and neutralize that foot. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing on the other foot. Alright. Same thing. Why do we need more solvent on the feet?
And because they're tougher.
They're tougher, they're gonna have more what?
Like dead skin.
More dead skin, more cuticle tissue, more buildup. Okay? I'm gonna do the same thing on this foot.
But be careful doing all of that. These you're making a whole lot of bubbles. Like you're not gonna see it as much with the paint. Which is why I said
Next time I see thing, I'm gonna start taking pictures of people's hands and feet when I have my
Do
little
it.
stories. No, for real, because I wish I could have just took a picture of the person's feet that wore the boots, so that you could see what his feet look like and how like it transitions so quickly. Like a couple weeks later with the foot fungus stuff or foot wart, you know, the little
Yeah.
over the
So
counter.
it must have been a
Yeah.
fungus,
Over
right?
the
If it
counter.
responded to the
Well,
treatment?
That's
no,
not,
not really.
That's not necessarily absolute because usually with fungal infection, usually the over-counter stuff.
that's already on there. Either way, you get alert.
Well, at all. Like truly, when it's fungal, it usually takes like oral medication or topical,
Right.
direct steroid topical creams. Okay. So once you finish,
Alcohol on the other side. And
alcohol, yep, we're gonna clean. And then it'll be time to go into the water. Next thing is exfoliate. What are we exfoliating with?
Scrub.
We're scrubbing with what though?
Wait a minute.
Oh, you don't have the scrub.
Pumice
It's called
stone?
pumice stone.
Yeah.
So we're gonna.
That wasn't in
exfoliate
our
the
sheet,
skin. You don't have pumice stone on there?
On the back when
Oh, under your disposable implements.
Oh, it's
Under
supposed to be up
file?
in the
It should be under disposable implements. Sorry.
Okay.
Pumice stone. Write that down too.
Can you end this?
Pumice.
Like poo mice.
Exactly that. Exactly that. Pumice.
sounds like a
All right, go ahead and
rapper.
neutralize for me. We're gonna get rid of the solvent. And I
Right.
am also done with the file. Gonna get rid of that as
This
well.
is when you do the brush, right?
Were you wiping
So-
the stick on alcohol soaked cotton or?
You're exfoliating, so you don't want to do that. Okay. So when you're coming, I'm just gonna show you. She really doesn't have anything that needs to be scrubbed. If you have someone that's ticklish, hold the ball of their foot, lock your knee, extend them, lock their knee, and just do firm pressure. I'm just doing very light pressure because this is a little coarse. These do come in different grits, so everybody is not going to be somebody who needs a coarse grit. If you notice, there's certain places where she has a little bit of white that I am exfoliating, and if you want to be sure that you're exfoliating enough, you go the direction the skin grows. If you look very closely, it's just like fingerprints. You will see the grooves in the skin. Now, let's say somebody has it. You can tell she has a little bit of thickening. You see how it's a little bit more yellow here and here. She has a little bit right here. Now that they've soaked, you can tell that there's a little here. It's still soft on this side though. This one is hard. Okay. So she doesn't need much, but I'm gonna use a little bit firmer pressure. I'm gonna hold her foot and use firmer pressure. I'm gonna using my fingertips. That's okay. It's not uncomfortable, right? Okay. And then I'm just feeling. Okay. Once I do here, when you have to do the toes, I'm gonna go one direction up. You don't want to let your pumice stone do the work. Don't use a lot of pressure. Okay. I'm gonna blend this down because the way this side grows. Okay. Once I finish this, what am I supposed to do?
Say a prayer.
Soak the foot.
Okay. This feel okay. This doesn't hurt, right?
No, nothing.
Comfortable.
I go further down than that.
You're putting the foot back into the bowl, right?
Yes, I'm putting this back into the bowl.
Cause it's also a bone, like my bone is right there too.
Yes, that's also pressure wise. That's kind of weird.
That's after tax, so it's like 50.
So sometimes you would notice that her skin does not come off. I need to bust the
That's
other
very
direction, but I'm only gonna go that one
I was
direction
gonna
to
say, you
smooth
should
it.
have just gone in that Levita one, cause it's nice and it's only like 44.
Alright.
That was the
So once
cheapest
I finish, I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in the
one.
water.
That's the cheapest one.
Now,
The
you see
cheapest
this?
one.
That's all dead skin. Okay? This is why it's one use only. So I will wet this side, so it's one side per foot. If you see that somebody notates on their chart that they have really thick callus or a lot of dead skin, you probably need two. Okay? One per foot. So just be mindful of it. If you see that notated, you know you need two. Go ahead and take your other one.
That's the dirty side.
This is her dead skin. So I'm gonna pat that. And a wet. Alright, I'm gonna hold you back up.
Yeah, sounds like
Definitely
love.
that person that always gets the whole callus removed every time I go and get
I
the
have to get callus remover.
Yeah, say.
Yep. So once you guys do spa, we will do that.
Go ahead,
But
put
it's
that
not
$5
invasive.
on that.
So if they want it, it's $3.50 more here.
Oh,
Outside of here, you can add just that,
it's like
or you can do a full
$5.
spa. To me, if you're gonna do one, you might as well do the full spa and get the works. Cause it's $10 more for everything.
So let me ask you this then. Is it a thing that having like tougher calluses, like tougher feet, is that a melanated thing?
Not necessarily, it's all for pressure. Callus is created from repetitive pressure.
So I feel like my whole family, like my mom's side, they all got the same type of.
Now, hereditary wise, your shape, the structure of your nail, your matrix is gonna be similar. But callus itself, no.
Cause me and my mom have the
Because
same
everybody,
type of feet.
y'all may walk the same. If she has the same placement of callus, y'all probably walk in the same areas.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take too much of this off, it makes it worse. With callus reduction,
It's like burning.
it'll make it come back because this is a layer of protection. So you can reduce it to a safe point where it's thin and it's smooth, but you never want to take all of it. Okay? People can get infections too. That's why we're also not allowed to use degraders. If you look on the chart, literally it says no shaving of legs, any razor-like implement such as a Credo blade shall not be used. You can put this on the water. Okay? So any of those, we can't use any of that. The blades, the graders, those are all legal for us to use because it's
What
considered a blade.
about, what do you think about those callus removers they're selling now where it's like the grit
On
the-
one side and the stone
and
on the
it's
other.
the circle? No, it's like a circle and it's on this like tube and it just spins. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the automatic one?
It's like,
No, that's like a
kinda
file.
like a file.
That sounds like a file. That's a
good.
file. It's
That's-
different.
That's good,
It's just
right?
like using a pedicure file. Yeah,
that's just
that's a file.
Is that okay?
Yes, we use those. Yeah, we use
Those
pedicure
don't have
files.
a, they're not as.
But it's like,
Alright.
it's,
No, they're like a
um,
nail file.
It's
Yeah.
like using a file on your
it's
foot.
motorized. so-
Yes, that's like an e-file for your foot.
Okay.
That's all it
So
is.
that's safe.
Okay, yes. But you have to make sure
But not the
that's
grader.
dry. That's done dry, never wet. Don't soften the skin first, okay?
Oh, so
So-
it's for dry.
Dry. So once you finish, we're gonna use a brush. I'm gonna leave your feet in the water. We're gently gonna brush. I got distracted.
Effleurage.
Thanks, Mark. Okay.
Put home down so quick on accident.
Okay. Now when you get here, you're gonna support. We're gonna do the Achilles. So you're gently gonna pinch and go up into the leg.
That
Come
probably
down,
feels
up
good
around the
too.
ankle. Not too firm, y'all. It's just gentle pressure. Okay, you're just stimulating blood flow to the area. Once you finish, you can rest your heel. You're gonna do 2 fingers. We're gonna go up around the ankle, fingertips. Okay, you're gonna do this 3 times as well. Okay, and then we're gonna effleurage into our toe rotation. Effleurage is just
What do you call
the
this part?
transition. You're going around your ankles. It's on your paper though.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so once you finish, we're gonna go into toe rotations. So you don't have to do both directions, just 3, and pinch, pull down. Okay, 1, 2, 3, pinch, pull down. Because everybody's toe length is gonna be different. Some people's are gonna be long, some are gonna be short. So you don't want to do stimulation on both directions.
Oh.
Okay. Once you finish, okay, we're gonna go into pressure massage. So for the bottom of the foot, it is a diamond. So your hands on the bottom of the foot are like this, they're meeting, and then you're just supporting like this. So it's firm pressure on the bottom of the foot. We're gonna do firm pressure all the way down to the toes. You okay with the pressure? Okay. So you're gonna go light back down and then firm back to you. Okay, we do this 3 times. Okay, once you finish, we're gonna do our fist. So when you hold your fist, the smooth portion of your fist is what touches your client's foot. So this is gonna stimulate blood flow all the way throughout the body. We're gonna go down the center, we're gonna go back up around the edges. You okay? I felt you twitched a little bit. Back down the toes,
I started looking
all the way
like
around.
a scratch on my leg. I was like, when did that happen?
Back up the center, down, around the world, all the way around the toes, back down, okay, back up, okay, and this one's done. Once we finish, we're gonna pinch the top of the foot, feather off. If you wanted to, you see how this is wet, we could change this towel out, which I'm going to once we finish.
With the
So it's
spare
not
towel?
cold. Yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. We're gonna effleurage. Just rub the lotion in.
I was like, what does effleurage even mean?
It is really a palm to fingertips, but it's hard to do it on the foot. So really it is like this pressure, but because you have to go around, it's awkward on the feet. So you're really just gliding. Palm to fingertips is like this.
Oh.
You're just fading. Yep. So once you finish, you're gonna do your rotations again. Support. Oh, use this side a lot. This side's way more tense on her left side.
What does it feel like if somebody's tense?
It feels like it's locking.
Like I'm-
like
like
you
I'm
can't
trying to-
move.
Like it won't
Like
move?
she's doing it for me. Yeah, like she's controlling it. But you see how this is relaxed. But if it's like this and you're trying to move, it's gonna be very tense. But you'll feel it in their leg, their heel, all of that would be very tense. Okay, back opposite direction. Like if you notice, you see how she doesn't have full range right here. See how it kind of stops? She's tense right there.
Sometimes it can also
Push
feel
back.
like they're flexing their muscles, but they're not actually flexing them. They're just stayed flexed because they're so tense.
Okay.
Sometimes
It's
it
like
feels like
being
I
told
call
to
it like a
relax.
little.
I always
book
hear that people
Little
say,
brick road.
"Oh, you're so tense." What does that mean?
So once you finish, you're gonna go into your Achilles.
I was a
Gentle pressure.
cheerleader, competition cheerleader, so I tended to lean
Oh,
against
yeah.
foot a lot.
3. You can tell though. You can feel it. I feel it right here too. Okay. Once you finish, you're gonna go up around. Kind of like a little brick road. It feels like bricks. They're hard. It's very tense.
But they don't even say how long you're supposed to wait to let the regular polish dry.
So regular polish is about 8 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. But you guys use quick dry on the clinic floor.
That's it. 8. Oh, is that why it's 8 to 10 minutes?
Yes, because it pulls the
Okay.
solvents out of it. It makes it evaporate faster. Because on the feet, they're usually going to come in, and as long as they come in their shoes with the toe separators, then they're good. But usually they're going to sit for other services anyway. So you'll have that wiggle time.
Because I'm like, they used to make us wait a long time. The nail salon.
Yeah, it's because they kind of have you at the polish dryers. Here, you can kind of take them to them. Okay? So once you finish with these, we do what?
Diamond.
Diamond, yep. Pressure all the way up the foot. Okay, mostly pressure with your thumbs, your fingers on top are just to support. Light, back up. Light. Then we're gonna support, do our fist all the way down. If you get too much grip on your gloves, you need to do more motion. You wanna be able to glide with your gloves. Okay? Everything should look very hydrated when you get to this point. Back down your center. Up again. If you have oil just like her, because we're gonna have to throw away the oil anyway, just use all of it. It'll make it easier for you to glide with your gloves.
Are you kind of going in with like the flat of your fingers or your knuckles?
Here, flat.
Okay.
I was thinking the same thing. It was definitely the flat
Because
part.
this feels different, and that's not gonna be comfortable. It feels good, but it's everybody depends on how tense like their feet are or how firm their feet are. She's got pretty soft feet for the most part, aside from here and then here. So this actually feels good, but it won't feel good to everyone. So it kind of stays so that they're only really getting the parameters of them.
Got you.
Because you're gonna see people that have callus placement, and it'll be unusual. It'll be hard for you to do it. You're gonna kill your arm trying to do that.
Trying to maneuver around it.
Yeah. And do pressure against something that's hard. Okay. So once you finish, we're at pinch feather off. You ease down, get lighter as you get to the tip, and then you have them flat. So I'm gonna have you put your feet down, and we're gonna change out your towel. So this, you'll just drop this in here, and go ahead and drop in your towel. That way it's not cold. Okay. Once you finish, I'll have you put your feet back up. Now with your toe separators, we're gonna put these on prior to, while your gloves are still oily, is totally fine. I should open these first because now this is gonna be hard.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I have
Silicone,
Yep. Okay.
clean,
Barbicide.
disinfect. Yep. You have
Okay.
to wash them and disinfect them.
I knew
Alright.
exactly where I was going with it
So
too.
once you finish, you go pinky all the way up to the big toe. Underneath is better. I know you're gonna see people that do on top, but on top it kind of gets in your way, it's bulkier. So always go underneath.
Yeah, I thought that was always odd.
I don't know why they do that. They do crazy things. Even
What,
when you
like
get ones with
flip the
flowers.
thing?
Yes.
Yeah, like they have the straight side down.
Oh.
Alright. So once you finish, I'm gonna throw this away. We will clean her toenails with lint-free alcohol. Now when you do this, I do not want you to dehydrate the skin. I only want you to dehydrate the nail, which means you need to tuck the lint-free. Okay, what I mean by that, just to show you,
Tucked around your finger.
is your fingertip. Yep, so that way we don't dehydrate the skin. That takes away all the moisturization we just did. However, y'all's quick dry is it is created to, I'm gonna fold this.
Make it dry.
It is created to hydrate. We use a quick dry oil, not like a drop, so it won't dehydrate the skin. Okay, pipe up. So that way you'll see that the oil, you see how you see, I'm not gonna take it away because your nails need it, but you wanna leave all the hydration in the nail plate. I mean, in the skin, not the nail plate. So that way the skin around it is still very shiny. When you go in, you're just kind of tucking it around the nail plate and getting any oil, residue, or lotion, because oil or lotion still will make regular polish lift. Okay, so you just want to wipe it. You would wipe all 10, of course. Once you finish, we polish. Okay, once you polish all of them, we let them dry for at least 1 minute. Then you're gonna go in with your quick dry drops. You do 2 to 3 drops per nail. Okay, this is additional to what's on your paper because this is client facing.
If
You'll do 2 to 3. Once you finish, go ahead. What are you gonna ask?
if they get gel polish, is the
Always
pedicure
after buff.
right? But is the pedicure done after the massage and the lotion?
Yes.
Okay.
So you would wipe again before you take your pictures because you're gonna get that residue all over the gel. So if you did gel, it's always gonna be inserted after nip buff. Okay. You do gel polish while your plate is clean, dehydrated, and your cuticle is off. Okay. Then once you seal the gel on, you can go and hydration, which would be your oil lotion massage, and then clean the nail plates, take your pictures, and then you're good. You can take before and after pictures of each other and your clients. You just have to have permission first. As long as you have permission, you're golden.
Like verbal.
Okay. Yeah.
Should have
Verbal
asked you
confirmation.
first.
So once
did
you
you do?
finish,
No, we didn't.
You said when you said you
so
want to take pictures.
once
so
you
I just-
finish, okay, let's say when you're done polishing, they want to get up, especially with regular polish. This is important. These are different ones. So I'm gonna show you how to put these on with regular polish. The easy way to do this: leave their toe separators on, because sometimes people's toes, when they're relaxed or the toe separators are off, they're
touch.
touching. So always leave them on. You want to have them on. You would polish like this. If they have their own shoes, it's fine. Just say, hey, we're gonna let you dry first. I want to make sure you're getting dry before we try to put your shoes on. Okay? Because some people then will be adamant about you putting their shoes on.
I remember they used to charge for those.
So this.
What?
Oh,
When
when
you-
those first came out, the people they used to
When-
charge for that.
And they used to keep them. When I used to work in the salon, they used to wash them and cut them in the laundromat.
Ew.
So they would put them in a special trash can like they were recycling.
But they was collecting the mugs.
So I'm gonna do it two different ways. Technically, I'm doing the wrong foot first, but I'm gonna show you. If this was regular polish, you would leave this in. You want to work the tab between the toes. Okay, texture side goes towards the floor to give them more grip. Okay, and then you're gonna pull this tab through so that way there's no contact with the toes.
Oh.
Okay, this is a better way. Sometimes they're gonna come in with shoes. Make sure you're using the right side. The big toe should be, of course, on the correct side with the correct grip on the bottom. Okay, let's say this is really a shoe. Now, some people's shoes are flexible, some are not. This is always gonna be different. If you're not sure, don't try to let them help you. When they help you, you tend to end up bumping your toes because they're gonna be trying to move and maneuver. Okay, wait till their toes are dry after the polish dryer. So you can always put these on them to get them to the polish dryer. Okay, and then they can change to put their shoes on once they're dry. Okay, so I'm gonna have you lift. Okay, so once you get to this point, all you want to do is get the straps around the foot. You would pinch, separate your toes, work it all the way down, and pull the shoe back. Okay, all shoes are not going to be flexible like that. Sometimes like this. So if that's the case, just wait. Or if you look at the toe portion of the shoe and it's going to be sitting over their toes, that's a no. Let them get dry, put them in the polish dryer. We usually escort them, take them out of the chair. So once you finish, this is it. When you guys test out, your expectation is toe separators and also pedicure slippers. You do the whole thing to this point. Once you finish, your client is done, they're ready to go. If they were dry, then you can take these off, let them put their shoes on. Once they are done, I'm gonna take these off. Once they are actually done, do you need these?
Where do we keep the pedicure slippers?
Pedicure slippers in the bottom.
I'm over here looking about how I need to do a removal.
Alright.
When I do a removal, I just come back over here, set back up the same way, and just remove
Same
them.
way, just remove. Okay. So once you finish, okay, your towels, all your towels go to laundry. When we disinfect, you need to spray down every contact